What is going on, you guys? I want to talk to you today about Mara Jade. We have some potential little teases that she may be coming back. I think if you've been following Star Wars for a while, you probably have already figured out that she's probably coming back. Most likely due to the fact that they keep pulling big characters from Legends back into canon. They're just using it as resources that they can grab and take important stuff and put it in when the time is right. I know a lot of people would have just preferred them doing straight up conversions of like Heir to the Empire straight to film, and a lot of stuff. The problem with that is that there's some things that conflict. There's some stories that are good and bad, and I think they were trying to just use that as an alternate timeline in the same way that the Marvel Cinematic Universe uses the comic book universes as kind of a separate standalone universe to pull things in. So, Legends is not really dead. It's just a separate universe. In fact, it'd be kind of cool if they went back and started adding some more Legends content at some point, or allowed people to kind of keep going with those characters. But we have seen a lot of other characters get pulled back, especially from the Heir to the Empire. Characters that were introduced during that time frame have really started to come back. Thrawn was one of the biggest, well, easily the biggest one. But we've also seen characters like Rook come back, and we've also seen Paleon get mentioned, and so he's now canonized. We've also seen the Dreadnought, although it came in a slightly different format. It's now called the Wolf. So a lot of other little things like that. So I think that we're going to see Mara Jade, or I've thought for a long time that we're going to see her in a Thrawn follow-up story, just because of her introduction into Heir to the Empire when you first saw her. But it looks like she actually may be coming in episode 9. So Disney put out a casting call for an actress to play a lead from age 40 to 50 and to play the role of Mara. Now, Mara's in quotation marks there, but really, are you really going to tell us that, oh, well, the lead for episode 9 is going to be Mara Jade? It's like, I feel like that's a code name, and that's not really true. I feel like if they were going to do that, they would have just had, it had been a fake name, because it's way too early for them to drop that major of a spoiler on us. I feel like it is. Maybe I'm wrong, but there's a whole lot to talk about there. So first I'm going to talk about if it's just fake, and then I'm going to talk about if it's real, all right? So first off, if it's fake, I think it's just another hint that Mara Jade is coming back. I think it's a way for them to tell the fans that they have not forgotten about Mara Jade. I think it's a way for them to remind us that they are still pulling characters from Legends. And it's not, don't forget about other characters like Talon Card. Don't forget about other characters like Jorah Sabaoth. Well, maybe, all right, bad example. You can probably forget about Sabaoth. But there's a lot of good stuff out there in the EU that they can still pull. And of course, I got to keep my fingers crossed that we're going to see Starkiller, Sam Witwer taking the screen again. I really would love to see that. You got to tone his power down, but I want to see that, man. Okay, but back to Mara Jade. So I think if you're caught up with Rebels and you've seen basically the Rebels finale, you know that they kind of set the stage for some future stuff that can involve Thrawn. And I think when they move forward with Thrawn, I think they have the ability to kind of play out almost an Heir to the Empire style movie. They can introduce a lot of that stuff. We know that Thrawn will have Paleon, or at least we can assume that Thrawn will have Paleon at his disposal. I think you can substitute Ezra for Luke, and you're given the opportunity now to have a lot of these key players. I think that's the perfect time to introduce Mara Jade. It won't be the exact same situation. You're not going to have Mara Jade going after Ezra saying, the Emperor told me, to kill you. It was his last command. You're not going to have all of that. But there could be a different reason for her to initially dislike Ezra and eventually, befriend him. It could be something like that. It can also involve Mara Jade and Thrawn potentially having some run-ins of initial, uneasiness, maybe some distrust there. But there's a lot of interactions they can have. And they can take it in some different directions, too. A lot of things get taken in different directions. Like we have dreadnoughts now for, you know, the Katana fleet can actually happen, and this would also be a great place for it to happen, but it's not exactly the same, all right? It's not, it's called the Wolf now, so it's not just called a dreadnought, because the word dreadnought is a little too ambiguous to assign to a smaller capital ship, smaller than an ISD, you know? So, like, you know, because dreadnoughts are generally larger ships, and you know, there's reasons for that. We can get into the, you know, the EU stuff of like, oh, well, a dreadnought was that really big at least at one point in time, and then started, you know. But point is, we have the dreadnoughts, we have the Katana fleet. It's called the Wolf now, at least according to StarWars.com and the little spreadsheet they put out for it. But it's got a different name, but it's the ship that we know, and it would be great. I think if they did Mara Jade in a future Thrawn story, maybe trilogy. Then that also would be a great time to introduce other characters like Talon Karrde. I think it would be a great opportunity to introduce Garm Bel Iblis, who was supposed to be a huge player. Like, I'm surprised they didn't introduce him in Rogue One. Like, that's the perfect time. You have all of these other guys like Draven, you have this whole council of all these early founding rebellion leader characters, and Garm isn't there. Like, why don't you have Garm Bel Iblis there? Unless they had plans for him. So if they move forward with a Thrawn story that's in a different sector of the galaxy, then that's a perfect time to start pulling in some other characters, because now you can make them all work. Garm can be your old leader-style person. Mara Jade can be the unknown variable that goes in and throws all the plans upside down. You can have Talon Karrde show up, and he, you know, he wouldn't have fit as good in Rebels, because of the fact that you kind of already had Hondo. You have Hondo Anaka, and they're not exactly the same character. They certainly have their differences, but I've always kind of viewed them at least having some overlap on their roguishness, and they're not, you know, like, you're not completely good, but you're also not completely evil. You know, I think they're different. I think Talon Karrde is a better person than Hondo, but and I would have preferred him over Hondo if I had the choice to show up in Rebels. However, I think having him outside, you know, at least being involved in this potential future, whatever they're going to do with Thrawn, I think would be great. I don't think Thrawn Alliances is going to really deal with that very much, because Thrawn Alliances seems to be taking place about the same time that Rebels is finishing Season 4, and so there's going to be some overlap. It may extend a little bit outward or drop some hints as to, like, there may be an epilogue talking about what happens in the aftermath of of the Season 4 or series finale of Star Wars Rebels. There may be some of that, so I'm very, very anxious for this book whenever it does come out. However, I think that's actually the time we're going to see Mara Jade come back. I don't think we're going to see her in Episode 9, because they just keep dropping these little hints, and I think it's just to keep us, you know, don't forget about this important character who was, you know, aside of Thrawn, you know, maybe the most wanted EU character to come in. I mean, I think so. Let me know in the comments below. There is another round of the giveaway going on right now for a $20 Cool Stuff gift card. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos, and that's a perfect comment. Let me know who is your most wanted EU character to return right now. For me, it's Mara Jade is one of them, but I also, you know, it's got to be Starkiller too. I know he's crazy. I know Galen Merrick. It doesn't have to be Starkiller. It could be Galen Merrick. I just want to see Sam Witwer on my screen, because I would love to see some more Sam Witwer. I kind of love Sam Witwer. Like, I want to give the guy a hug, you know. I don't know. Is that weird? Anyway, so let's talk some more about Mara Jade. So what if she actually is in Episode 9? What if they're actually pulling the double whammy on us by casting somebody for Mara, and it turns out it actually is Mara? Like, I'm not expecting that, so maybe it's the answer, you know, the thing hidden in plain sight. Well, that would be interesting, because it begs a lot of questions. For one, you know, they said it's the character Mara, what they're looking for. So is it really just Mara? Like, how come they didn't give us a last name? Is it Mara Jade? Is it Mara Jade Skywalker? Did Luke get married? There's a whole lot of information we don't know about Luke Skywalker, what happens between Return of the Jedi and Episode 8. There's a lot of open stuff in there. There's a lot. So, you know, Mark Hamill had even said, you know, like, in his mind, there's a whole bunch more stories to tell about Luke. You know, he had wanted Luke to have gotten married or whatever, and so a lot of people were like, "Oh, you wanted Luke to." Of course, you know, Mark Hamill's not in charge of everything that happens to Luke Skywalker, even though a lot of us would really like that, and we would like Luke's input to actually matter. Maybe it did. Maybe he actually did get married to Mara Jade, and then she wasn't in the picture for whatever reason. We don't know. You know, you could could tell a whole bunch of stuff about that. And so maybe you've got, you know, this widow who has found Rey and said, okay, you were the last person my husband talked to, you know, and so we need to have a talk. You know, blah blah blah. Who knows? So that could introduce her for that reason. I think, however, though, if they do have her in, it will probably be from more of the standpoint of maybe some you know, flashbacks. I think maybe we could like get more info on the past, on what happened. One of the because there's so many unanswered questions that 9 kind of needs to. I say needs to. I would like it to deal with. Like, I would like some more information on the Knights of Ren, who the heck they are. Like, were the Praetorian Guard the Knights of Ren? I would like some you know, concrete stuff on that. I would like, you know, and what about, you know, other stuff that happened during the Jedi Temple? I would love more stuff about this Jedi Temple. And that may get answered a little bit in Resistance, which is supposed to be this new cartoon or project that is coming at, you know, to take the place of Rebels. I hope by the end of the year we're going to actually see some kind of announcement for that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not even going to be a cartoon. Maybe it'll be a live-action show. Maybe it'll be a kids show. Maybe it'll be a grown-up show. Maybe it'll be a video game. It'll be an interactive TV show, video game hybrid that involves 4-dimensional virtual reality, smell-o-vision, Wonka-vision. Who knows? So, hoping it's well done, whatever it is. But you know, and I think a show like Resistance would be great. But I'm getting off topic. But it could, you know, the idea is that it could involve Mara Jade, or at least a young Mara Jade. But it depends. You know, they'd have to get somebody that could at least, you know, look like she would have been married to Luke, because, you know, if they just go with 40, I don't think that's necessarily going to be old enough to be Luke's wife, unless he was kind of, you know, trading in for a newer model or something like that. But, so she definitely have to look distinguished enough. So it all depends on, you know, I would think they would go a little older than that, maybe, but it doesn't have to be. It kind of all depends. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think Mara Jade is going to actually be a female lead in episode 9? If so, how would you feel about that? Do you think that something like that would take some of the people who are really upset about 8 and kind of, you know, redeem some of the, you know, some of their lost fandom? Or do you think that nothing could, you know, for some of these folks, that absolutely nothing in 9 would ever make them, you know, return to being a Star Wars fan again? I don't know. I think there's a lot of things 9 could do to really rectify the situation with some of the fans right now. But I don't think it's that bad of a situation, because at its core, we've always had the original trilogy. Star Wars fans have always had so much to complain about. We have a lot of really good Star Wars. Despite the things that some of you guys don't like right now, we have a lot of really good Star Wars in addition to the original trilogy right now. We really do. Star Wars Rebels is a great show. I love that. A lot of people really like the Clone Wars. I'm neutral on the Clone Wars, mostly because I just watched it out of order the first couple of times and it really screwed me up, so I've never truly forgiven it for that. Rogue One, you know, almost universally adored as a movie. Sometimes you guys, you know, and everybody has their own, you know, their ups and highs and lows. I really like 7 and 8 also. I like 7 more than 8. As time goes on, I'm having some more issues with 8, but really, you know, it's a good time to be a Star Wars fan. I'm sorry if you disagree. You know, we're allowed to disagree, but there's a lot more to disagree about, and that's a good thing. You know, we can nitpick and we can say, oh, well, I would like the future to have all this instead, and I think this should have been done differently, and I have my own opinions on those things as well, but I'm so glad to have the opportunity to talk with you guys about it, as opposed to there not have been any new Star Wars, and we're just sitting here talking about the prequels again, because if Disney hadn't bought Star Wars, we'd still be sitting here talking about, oh, well, Jar Jar Binks gonna, you know, darn that Jar Jar Binks. We'd still be caught up on that stuff. So we have so much new stuff to talk about, and it seems like it's continuing to flow. And we got a new Star Wars movie next month. A lot of cool stuff, guys. But I'm rambling at this point, so let's go ahead and wrap things up. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and the little bell so you don't miss out on any new videos. And don't forget to enter the contest by leaving a comment on this or one of my other videos and being a subscriber. Don't forget to check out Crabbok.com for all the latest guides, erratas, message boards, links to all my social media, all that good stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.